Okay, so yeah, we're looking at the centrifugal pump stuff, and we are going to go to open a whiteboard. So just open up a new whiteboard. So open up a whiteboard, and what we're going to do is we're dealing with centrifugal pumps, right? And what centrifugal pumps deal with are obviously pumping water. So with the pumps, so say now you have a pump, right? It looks like this. A pump generally looks like this. You know what a pump looks like, and you're pumping water from a borehole. Right, there's some borehole, some water. All right, let's give it some color. Okay, you got some borehole. We have a borehole. Okay, we have a borehole, and then what we deal with, what we do is we have WP, right, and then now we want to pump it to a house. Pump this thing to a house. Now to pump it, so this pump has a total head of, say, in other words, its ability to pump, it can pump, like based on its power, it can pump water from this borehole 60, or the pump head is total 60 meters. That's how much this pump can pump, like can pump water this far, 60 meters. That's like its power. That's why we call it head. Right, this is the head, 60 meters. Now, but to pump it from this borehole to your house, say, is 40 meters. So the head loss, H loss, is equal to 40 meters. It's equal to 40 meters. So that means obviously we're left with 20 more meters of head that we can work with. But what we generally need to do is we need to draw, so when you're dealing with these equations, you just draw a control volume around the pump and then the house. Around the house, and then we just do an energy balance about where we're pumping it to. So yeah, but let's look at a question, and then I can explain it to you better with all the terms defined. Okay, but just so you get the idea, you got head loss and you got pump head, which is like the total head that it can pump. Okay, so there's a question. There's another question. Right, let's get our centrifugal pump stuff. Right, our centrifugal pump. Let's get it on the side, and then let's look at our equations that we have. Okay, so obviously if it's an adiabatic turbine, right, control volume, or if it's a adiabatic, Q equals to, I'm just quickly just want to write down equations. If Q equals to 0, right, and we got adiabatic, it's adiabatic, and there's no losses in the pump, which means we're only going to deal with the first part. Okay, so this stuff's actually like very straightforward. This pump equations, they're very much like remember MTV 310 when you had to deal with, you got equations and it was just energy balance. So it's the same thing. Okay, so I just need to go all the way to the beginning of this, all the way at the end. All the way at the beginning where we're going to look, the question we're going to look at. So just scroll all the way there. Right, a lot of questions in the tutorials. Okay, sorry guys. Let me mute his mic. Okay, so yeah, okay. So what we're looking now at number 3. No, number 2. No, I think it's number 5. Number 6. Yeah, so we're looking at number 6. We're looking at this one. And if we look at the specific question, so this is the question up here. This is the question in the notes, right, that I've said we should look at. Now I'm just quickly going to explain the memo, and then we are pretty much done. Okay, so they say the chilled water system for a 25-story building. Let's get a red pen. Red pen. The chilled water system for a 25-story building has a pump located at the ground level. The loss head in a vertical riser from pump to an equivalent room on the 25th floor is 9.4 meters. So we're pumping water to the top floor, and they tell you that the head loss. So they tell you that let's quickly move this, let's zoom out. All right. So they tell you that there's the H loss, 9.114 meters. That's our head loss, right? To pump the water. And so equivalent room to the 25th floor is 9.11 meters. The pump produces 67, so the total head of the pump is 76 meters, right? The total head of the pump, I guess this is, so the total head of the pump, H is equal to this. So you can also write this equation down here for the pump head, but don't know too much about it for now. Then they tell you that the head developed, so the total head in the pump is 76 meters. That's how much you can pump. And then they tell you that the pressure on the floor at this point here, at the exit, is 55 kilopascals. And they tell you that there's continuity. Now they want you to determine the pressure 1. So what is the pressure that's starting here to get to this inlet pressure, or the exit pressure? So what we need to do is we need to draw a control volume, right? Just draw a control volume there, like this. And now we're obviously dealing with our boundary conditions. That's what we're dealing with. So let's quickly go look at the memo. So we look at the memo, and they want to know what P1 is. So we go look at the memo, and we'll see that in the memo, let's zoom out. Okay, in the memo, let's zoom out again, zoom out. Okay, so if we look at the memo, they give you H loss, they give you the change in head, the pressure at the exit, the change in the change per floor, right? So you need to first get the total height, because if you're drawing a boundary condition, you need to know how far the water is moving. You need to know that distance that it moves, right? And that's essentially the height or the change. So that's so if you're dealing with height, generally you're going to deal with height, right? Because you want to pump water up something. And then, so we've got the height difference here. That's why we got H1 minus HZE. So to get that height, we just multiply the floor height by the number of floors. And if we look here, they tell us the number of floors is 24 floors. Okay, so then what we do is we do energy balance, as you see here. If we do energy balance around this control volume, we're going to get Q minus WP, because remember it's the sum of the energy balance is essentially conservation of energy. So conservation of energy, where energy in equals to energy out, right? Energy into the system equals to energy out. I'm just going to say En, so you get the idea. So you want to use conservation energy. And so because we assume, the first thing you do is you set your assumptions, and you assume that the kinetic energy of the fluid is negligible in the pump, and in the system the kinetic energy is negligible, and then that it's an adiabatic turbine. And if it's adiabatic, it means that's zero. It means that's zero. And now this is a standard equation, right? I mean, remember we saw this in the turbine equations as well. PE minus P1 over PW. This is zero. This whole thing is zero because we assume it to be zero. And then we have plus GZE minus Z1 plus GH loss, right? So you need to account for the head loss in the system, because this is about energy balance. This is zero. We're left with this formula here. Okay, so awesome. So the full equation, scroll up. The full equation is this equation here, right? Or it's this equation here. that you need to account for. Generally, we always neglect the velocities. It doesn't. That's why I didn't even write it. But maybe it's good practice just to write it to say that it's 0, but generally it doesn't really matter because we just in MTV it's just about using equations. So you use that equation there, we get that. Now we want to find what the P1 is, right? We know what the density of the water is, we know what the outlet pressure is, we know what G is, obviously, we know what the change in height is, we know what the head loss is. So all we need to do is we need to get the pump power, and there's a nifty formula for it. Pump power is equal to G times the pump head. So I don't know why this is here. No way. I don't know. Anyway, this is pump head, right? And so if the change in head is 76, they tell us the pump head 76, as you would imagine, right? If you have to pump something 76 meters, then then you got G, and then this is our formula. This is what we get there for our change in height, and then we get our pump head there, and then generally what they do here is, by the looks of it, I just want to see here, they just neglect the negative here. Just want to understand why. Why would we neglect the negative? Why would we neglect the negative? Because the pump power is this. Okay, joules per kilogram. We get that. Let's see. P1. Let's see there. But generally what you would do is you'll substitute it. Okay, so either what's going to happen here is this, the head is plus 76, you get that, right? But generally what you're going to do is you'll substitute your head in there, or your pump power in there, and then you just substitute your unknowns, right? They're all unknown here, and then we get our pump power, right? And over here we assume that, because remember at the end of the day is we multiply by a negative, because this is supposed to be negative, and then they just cancel out and you get a positive at the end of the day. And then that's pretty much, like, this was just from MTX 221, and then we get our P1, and that's basically centrifugal pumps. It's along those ideas. Yeah. And then there's also a little equation they do here, which isn't necessary. I don't actually know why they do it, but it's not really necessary here. These two steps are just to show you that you can also find the control volume around the pump. But in this case, sometimes one of them will be unknowns. Sometimes, like for example, density would be unknown, but they'll give you the losses or something, and then you can use the control volume around the pump. So you would know the conditions around the pump, right? You would know what, for example, we would know what P2 is, but we won't know what P1 is. But we need to use, they'll basically give you this, and then what parts of this and parts of this, and then you need to solve. You also need to find the conservation of energy around the pump. So you also need to do it around the pump, and it's the exact same formula. Just obviously we're dealing with pressure 2, pressure 1, and then that's pretty much the process. But there's no need for it, like in this case. This is the standard formula. Okay, guys. So so that's pretty much centrifugal pumps, and that's centrifugal pumps, and everything else that we've covered in today's class was quite a long one. Thank you very much for your time, and the